The light turned green, I didn't move. Guy behind me honked twice. I just sat there thinking, do it for her, do it for them. Then I drove.
47 minutes in traffic tonight. Radio off, just the engine and the city light. Replay the meeting where they passed me over again. Younger guy, knew a degree, and I managed the campaign to save that company, 3/4 running straight. I swallowed a smile, shook his hand, walked out the gate. Sat in the parking structure on level B and called nobody, just breathe. Because falling apart in a parking lot is a luxury I cannot afford right now. So I start the engine and I find a thought that pulls me up off the ground somehow. Her face when I walk through the door every night, his laugh when I get the voices wrong at bedtime. Her drawing on the fridge, the one where I'm a giant with a cape. She sees me different. I do it for her and for them. Not the title, not the paycheck, not the validation. Oh, I do it for her and for them. That's the only calculation that makes the math make sense at the end. She texted at 2 o'clock, you okay today? I say, yeah, just busy, which is what I always say. But she left a plate on the stove with a sticky note. Heat it up at 7, go slow. She already wrote the ending where I come home wrecked and try to hide it. She sees through every version I provided. 20 meters from the front door now. I fix my face somehow. Because they don't need to carry what I carry. That's not what I signed up to give. I signed up for the warm house and the ordinary, sacred, ordinary way we live. Her face when I walk through the door every night, his laugh when I get the voices wrong at bedtime. Right, drawing on the fridge, the one where I'm a giant with a cape. She sees me different. I do it for her and for them. Not the title, not the paycheck, not the validation. I do it for her and for them. That's the only calculation that makes the math make sense at the end.
I used to think success was the corner office, the car, the number and the count. But then she was born, and then he was born, and something reorganized inside me. The whole scoreboard changed. I'm not chasing anymore. I'm building.
I was 26 and going nowhere fast. Apartment I couldn't afford, a job that wouldn't last. Then she sat across from me at a table in the rain, and something in that coffee shop rerouted every lane. First reason, she laughed before I finished the joke. She knew the punchline, still she let me tell the whole stroke. Married her on a Tuesday, courthouse 3 o'clock. Her sister cried, my best man forgot the ring. The whole block laughed at us and we laughed with them. We had nothing but the kind of nothing that felt like something. Then he came along, reason number 2, 7 pounds, not sleeping, neither were we. Who knew that exhausted could feel this much like enough? 3 reasons I get up and face it, 3 reasons I don't quit and waste it. Her, the woman who chose me when choosing was hard, and my son who already knows every word to my Second reason, he came to my work one day. Bring your kid to work day. He sat where I sat all day. At the end he said, Dad, this is where you go. It smells like paper. And that guy ain't mean, I know. You don't like him, 8 years old and already right. He sees everything. I have to be worth his sight. Third reason, she said, Daddy, watch on the stage. I watched, she stumbled, she looked at me, gauged my reaction. I clapped like she just won the whole thing. 3 reasons I get up and face it. 3 reasons I don't quit and waste it. Her, the woman who chose me when choosing was hard. And my son who already knows every word in my yard. Her, my daughter who holds my face when I'm sad. 3 reasons to be the best version I've had. 3 reasons. People ask what drives me, and I never know how to explain that it isn't ambition or money or pride or pain. It's purely, completely just the 3 of them. The 3 who would notice if I decided to stop again. So I don't. 3 reasons, always 3. 3 reasons they're enough for me. 3 reasons I was lost before I found. 3 reasons now I know my ground.
My father never told me what this would feel like. He just showed me. Every morning, every door he held, every bill he paid before I knew we were behind. I understand now. The furnace broke in mid-bad in December. 2 kids coughing, wife under a sweater. Called 3 companies, 2 didn't pick up. Third said Tuesday, I said that's not enough. I went down to the basement with a flashlight and a prayer. Watched a YouTube video and fixed it right there. Came back up a 2, the housewoman slow. She was still awake, she said, I know that's what this house runs on. Not applause, not a title or a throne or a standing ovation. Just the quiet doing, just because the family needs you. That's the foundation. The man of this house doesn't shout it. The man of this house doesn't need you to doubt. The man of this house, he's the one who checks the locks and then checks them again. Oh, he's the one who fills the gas before it empties and then shows up to the teacher meeting and the Saturday game, and comes home when he says he's coming home. Every time say the man of this house earns that name. My son watches everything. I read everything. How I speak to his mother. How I handle suffering. When the job cut out and the mortgage was due, I didn't crumble at the table, I sat him through a conversation about how men navigate fear. You feel it, then you move through it. That's being here. He nodded slow, maybe too young to fully hold it, but I said it because one day you remember I told it. Not domination, demonstration, not control, but consistency. Not a crowner, calling every single day faithfully. The man of this house doesn't shout it. He's the one who checks the locks and then checks them again. Oh, he's the one who fills the gas before it empties and then shows up to the teacher meeting and the Saturday game. Then comes home when he says he's coming home. Every time say the man of this house, that night. I asked her once, am I doing this right? She didn't answer with words. She reached across the bed in the middle of the night, and that was the most complete answer I ever heard. Man of this house, still learning it. Man of this house, still learning it every day. That's what it is.
I had rehearsed the whole drive home. I was gonna walk in and say I was tired, go straight to the shower and disappear. She was standing at the door in her pajamas. She said, "Daddy, I saved the good song for you." I forgot everything. She'd been watching from the window. She always waits. Even when I tell her she can sleep, she always waits. She had her mother's old cardigan wrapped around a small frame, holding the remote like a microphone called my name. Said, "I told Mom this one was only for you and me." I set my bag down, I got down on one knee. And she put her little hands up on my shoulders and stepped onto my shoes like she's been doing since before she could barely keep herself from folding into sleep. But tonight she was choosing dance with Daddy in the living room light after the longest and the hardest kind of night. She doesn't know about the meeting or the numbers in the red. She just knows her daddy's home, and she saved a good song. Instead of going to sleep, she waited up for this. And there is nothing in this world I would trade for this. Dance with Daddy. She told me Tyler pushed her at recess, and she cried. But then her teacher let her water the plants inside. She said it like those two things balanced perfectly. And maybe that's a lesson she's already teaching me, that the hard part and the good part live together. That you survive the push if you tend to something better. She's 6 years old and already wiser than I managed to become at 38. And she's looking up at me like I'm her entire world, and I feel the whole weight. Dance with Daddy in the living room light after the longest and the hardest kind of night. She doesn't know about the meeting or the numbers in the red. She just knows her daddy's home, and she saved the good song. Instead of going to sleep, she waited up for this. And there is nothing in this world I would trade for this. Dance with Daddy. The song ended, she looked up at me, said, "Daddy, you look tired." I said, "I was. I'm not anymore." She accepted that completely. 6 years old, already knows how to fix a man. Dance with Daddy. She'll forget the words to this song someday. Dance with Daddy. I'll carry it the rest of the way. Dance with Daddy. Last step, last turn, lights out. She saved the good song. That's what this life's about.
Told him Thursday, put it in his little calendar, his little paper calendar that he made himself. He circled it in red. Flat tire on Route 9, 5:15. Phone battery dying, trying to stay alive. In the conversation with the client on hold who needed the report I hadn't finished. Cold coffee in my cup holder from 8 this morning. Spare tire wouldn't come loose, no warning. I just sat in the gravel on the side of the road and thought he circled Thursday in red. Let's go. I pulled into the driveway at 7:43. He was on the porch steps, glove already on, waiting for me. Didn't say a word about how late it was, just said ready dad, like that's all there was. Catch you with my son in the fading light, 70 degrees and just barely right. He winds up like the pitcher on the team he loves and fires something perfect into these warm gloves. And for 15 minutes there's no invoice due, no flat tire memory, no overdue review, just the sound of leather and the thud of release. Catch with my son, my temporary peace. He asked me why I look so tired today. I said, long road, buddy, that's the working way. He thought about that for a second, then he threw and said, I'll help you when I'm big, me and you. I caught it and I held the ball a second long. Before I threw it back, I had to hold it, stay strong. Cause the way he said it, casually certain, like it was already sighted, already written. 15 minutes in the yard, that's all he asked. Not a vacation, not a speech, not a first class, just his dad present, that's the whole request. And somehow that's the hardest and the best. Catch with my son in the fading light, 70 degrees and just barely right. He winds up like the pitcher on the team he loves and fires something perfect into these warm gloves. And for 15 minutes there's no invoice due, no flat tire memory, no overdue review, just the sound of leather and the thud of release. Catch with my son, my temporary peace. He'll be 14 soon, then 22, then building his own life in a city I won't choose for him. And I'll think about this yard, this life, this throw, and be so glad I came home even slow. Catch with my son, he circled Thursday in red. Catch with my son, enough said, I came home. The second business failed on a Friday afternoon. I didn't tell her until Sunday, sat with it all weekend. She already knew. I walked in the door and she looked up from the table, said nothing for a moment, just stayed stable. Like she was reading the room before the room fell apart. Set her book face down, came and stood where I start to pace. Would she know she stood right in my path and said, before you spiral, let's do the math. And we sat down in the kitchen at 9 p.m. and rebuilt the whole thing from the end. She didn't say I knew this would be hard. She didn't say maybe next time aim smaller. She opened the laptop, she found the comp, she led the charge. When I was ready to surrender, she got taller. She believed in me when I had stopped believing in the plan. She believed in me, held steady while I tried to understand the fate finished the last half. She believed in me. Third year of the third attempt, I started working slow. She was still doing a job, carrying the whole financial weight of everything, and never said a word about the pressure. I found out through a friend she'd heard was asking after her. She'd been covering for me, to her family, to her friends, just quietly, so I could build without the eyes, without the clock. She gave me a runway I didn't know I had, then watched me take off. She clipped every article I was quoted in, sent them to her mother without explaining, said that's my husband, just that, and then moved on. That's the kind of faith that carries something strong. She believed in me when I stopped believing in the plan. She believed in me, held steady while I tried to understand. The failure isn't the verdict, it's a sentence in the draft. She believed in me, and because she did, I finished the last half. She believed in me. She believed in me. At the launch event, when it actually worked, she was in the back of the room in the blue dress. I found her eyes before I found anybody else's. She didn't say anything, she just nodded once, like, see, I knew. I held it together for exactly 4 more seconds. She believed in me the whole time. She believed in me every failed climb. She believed in me before I believed in myself. She believed in me. And nothing's worth more than that kind of well. She likes hers golden, not brown. He wants chocolate chips, always. She wants them cut into triangles, not squares. Don't ask me why, I know, I just know. 6:45, the house is theirs for now. Her breath is restless, turning the ordinary sound of a home still sleeping while I'm at the stove, finding the rhythm that this family knows. 1 cup of batter, I triple the chocolate chips, because he's 7 and the rules can't slip on Sundays. His mother agrees. She comes down first, both hands around her coffee, please. She says, you didn't have to wake up this early. I say I wanted to, and I mean it completely, because Monday comes fast and the week takes over. But Sunday morning is the one thing I hold for. Sunday morning pancakes, that's my sermon. Sunday morning pancakes, my return to the version of myself that's not a function, just a man at the stove at the intersection of everything I love, all in one room. Sunday morning pancakes, there's no resume, no performance, just the proof that I belong here. Sunday morning pancakes, that's the truth. She comes down at 7, hair undone, no performance. Sits across from her brother with the yachter importance. Announces she would like blueberry, please. He says gross, she says you're gross, she's at ease. This is the whole of it right here, this exact noise, the low-grade chaos and the comfortable joys. My wife catches my eye above the Saturday paper. This, she mouths, this is everything. I burned the second batch, nobody cared. We ate them anyway, that's what we share. Not perfection, presence, that's what this is. The slightly burned pancake Sunday, that's what family is. Sunday morning pancakes, that's my sermon. Sunday morning pancakes, my return to the version of myself that's not a function, just a man at the stove at the intersection of everything I love, all in one room. Sunday morning pancakes, there's no resume, no performance, just the proof that I belong here. Sunday morning pancakes, that's the truth. They'll leave one day, the house will be quiet on Sunday. I'll probably still make for a portion. She'll remind me we'll laugh and eat the leftovers on Monday. The ritual doesn't end, it just changes shape. Sunday morning pancakes, stack 'em high. Sunday morning pancakes, this is my why. Every single Sunday I choose this, I choose this. I have two faces. One for the building, one for the house. The building face is fine, the house face is mine. Conference room at 9. Thanks for joining the call. Let's circle back, let's make sure we're covering all the stakeholders. I speak the language fluently. I've learned to wear the room without losing me completely. I leave enough back at the door so that the man they're managing isn't the whole score. I give them competence, I give them my word, but the rest is encrypted, reserved, unheard. Because the man I am in the boardroom is only a fraction of the man I am in the bedroom, where she still reaches for my hand at 3 a.m. and doesn't need the function version, she needs him. Suit and soul, one for the world, one for the room, where the kids are doing homework on the living floor, where the dinner's getting cold and it's a Tuesday afternoon, and she's telling me about a day before I close the door. Suit and soul, I leave the suit at the hallway rack. Suit and soul, and I don't look back. Suit and soul, I leave the suit at the hallway rack. Suit and soul, and I don't look back. The soul is who I am, the suit is just my word. Suit and soul, and the soul is when I work. Suit and soul, suit and soul, suit and soul, and I don't look. My daughter asked me once why I talk different at work. She'd seen a video, a conference call, a quirk of my work voice, crisp and composed and controlled. She said, "Daddy, you don't sound like you sound bold, but also kind of fake, 8 years old exact." I laughed and said, "You're not wrong, that's a fact. At work I have to be a certain kind of clear." She thought about it, well, I like the daddy voice better here. And that's the whole thing in one conversation. The suit is the vehicle, the soul is the destination. Every day I drive the suit to where the money lives, and drive the soul back home to where the meaning is. Suit and soul, one for the world, one for the room, where the kids are doing homework on the living floor, where the dinner's getting cold and it's a Tuesday afternoon, and she's telling me about her day before I close the door. Suit and soul, I leave the suit at the hollow back. Suit and soul, and I don't know back. Suit and soul, I leave the suit at the hallway rack. Suit and soul, and I don't look back. The soul is who I am, the suit is just my word. Suit and soul, and the soul is what I'm worth. Soul, soul, suit and a soul, soul, and I don't know back. One day I'll retire and the suit will hang, and I'll sit across from her at Sunday breakfast again, and she'll say, "Welcome back," and I know what she means. The full-time soul, the man behind the scenes, finally free. Soul and soul, the soul wins every evening, every weekend. Soul, the soul comes home.
They out fishing said, repeat after me. And I did, but I was saying something else at the same time. Underneath the words, something I never said out loud. I promised to come home, that's not in the vow. But I said it in my head, standing at that altar somehow. I promised not to make you carry what I should be carrying. I promise when I'm lost to let you help me find the bearing. I promise that the man you're marrying today will show up as that man even when the good years fray into the hard ones, and they will, we both know. I promise I won't let you go through those alone. She signed a name she'd had for 27 years and swapped it for mine, and she did it without tears, like it was obvious, like there was never a question. And I have been carrying that confidence as a lesson. Her last name, 2 syllables, my whole life. Every morning she's still wearing it, my wife. Her last name, I made a private vow to be the kind of man the name is proud to allow into every room. I carry it with care. Her last name, it follows me everywhere I go to earn it every single day. Her last name, that's what I'm working to repay. Year 4, we lost a baby in the spring. She didn't speak for 3 days, I didn't say anything. I just stayed in the perimeter of where she was, drove her where she needed, did the quiet jobs to keep a house alive when someone inside it isn't. I made the calls, I handled the prescription, I held her on the bathroom floor at 2 because she said don't go, and I said I'm not going to. That's when the name became something more than a signature. It became what I'm for, every hard thing, I'll be there for all of it. Every version of her, that's the whole of it. Her last name, 2 syllables, my whole life. Every morning she's still wearing it, my wife. Her last name, I made a private vow to be the kind of man the name is proud to allow into every room. I carry it with care. Her last name, it follows me everywhere I go to earn it every single day. Her last name, that's what I'm working to repay. She still introduces herself with it, every time without hesitation, in rooms full of people who don't know our story. And every time, I feel it like the first time, like she's choosing it again, like she's choosing me again. Her last name, I'll keep earning it. Her last name, I'm still in it. Her last name, for everything. Her last name. November 15th every month, even January when the car needed new brakes, even March when I was between jobs, even August when we almost didn't make rent. November 15th every month, because she was born on the 15th.
And I made a promise on that day. She doesn't know the account exists yet, she's 9. But every month I fund a version of her life that I want her to have the option of choosing, without the weight of debt before she's even moving into the world. I want her choices to be wide, not narrow by the starting point. I provide. My father handed me ambition and a handshake. I want a hand, a room to make mistakes. Not because I'm wealthy, I am not, but because what I didn't have, she's got. A father who decided that the ceiling stops here with me, and she begins from the top of where I reach their future. I'm working backward from the end. Their future. Every dollar that I spend less today is a door that opens further down the road. Their future. That's the map beneath the load I carry every morning out the door. Their future. Not mine anymore. Their future. That's what the overtime is for. Their future. I'm building what they'll stand on. Their future. My son wants to study something I don't understand, something in technology or medicine or the land, of ideas that didn't exist when I was his age. I told him pick the thing that keeps you on the page at 2 a.m. Not because you have to, but because you can't stop. He said, how will I know? I said, you'll know. It won't feel like work. I want him to have the chance to find that thing without choosing based on what alone is offering. I came from love, but I came from limited, and limited is a ceiling I've taken down and refitted into a floor for them. That's the whole of it. Their future. I'm working backward from the end. Their future. Every dollar that I spend less today is a door that opens further down the road. Their future. That's the map beneath the load I carry every morning out the door. Their future. Not mine anymore. Their future. That's what the overtime is for. Their future. I'm building what they'll stand on. Their future. Oh. She'll pick a school I've never been to. She'll study something I can barely pronounce. She'll call me on a Sunday from a city far away, and she'll say, I think I found it, Dad. And I'll say, I know, baby, I've been waiting for that call. And she won't know how long I've been saving for it. That part is mine. Their future. November 15th. Their future. Every month. Their future. That's the whole reason. Their future.
I sat in the shower for 20 minutes, not washing anything, just letting the noise go somewhere. Tuesday the bank called about the second notice. Wednesday his teacher said he seems distracted. I noticed too, but didn't know what to say at the dinner table without unraveling, so I stayed stable. Thursday she mentioned the car needs new tires. By Friday I was measuring the files against the account and coming up short. By Saturday I was tired in ways that reports don't cover, in ways that fine doesn't reach. So Saturday night when they were all asleep, I went to the back porch, just me, and let the whole week go quietly, because they don't need to see this part of it. Strong enough to cry when nobody's watching, strong enough to feel it, not just absorb it, strong enough to break for 15 minutes in the dark, and then go wash my face and start the whole thing over, because they're in there sleeping, and they are the reason that I'm keeping it together. Strong enough to fall apart alone, strong enough to cry and still come home. She found me once, back porch, 2 in the morning. She didn't say a word, no alarm, no warning. She just came and sat beside me in the cold, handing me her tea. She already poured 2 cups, which means she knew, which means she came on purpose. She waited while I said nothing. She found a use for the silence, then finally said, "You're allowed, you know." And I said, "I know." And she said, "I know, you know." And somehow that was everything. Not weakness, not collapse, not falling apart, just the necessary gravity of a heavy heart that loves this much. The weight has to go somewhere. Strong enough to cry when nobody's watching, strong enough to feel it, not just absorb it, strong enough to break for 15 minutes in the dark, and then go wash my face and start the whole thing over, because they're in there sleeping, and they are the reason that I'm keeping it together. Strong enough to fall apart alone, strong enough to cry and still come home. My son will see me cry exactly once, on purpose, when he's old enough to understand that the men who feel are the ones worth knowing, that strength isn't the absence of breaking, it's coming back together. Every time I'll teach him that. Maybe this way. Strong enough to cry, still here. Strong enough to feel it, still standing. Strong enough to be a man, and still be human. Strong enough.
She will tell you, anyone who asks, that I cannot dance. She is correct. I have never once found the beat, and I have never once stopped trying. The DJ said, "Ladies and gentlemen, your first dance." I took her hand and I gave it my best chance. Counted in my head, 1, 2, 3, lost it at 4. She whispered, "Stop counting, just hold me." That's what she said, nothing more. I stopped counting, I just held her, and somehow that was the better version of the dance. Imperfect and present, a metaphor we've been living ever since. 12 years later, our anniversary, same kitchen. She puts on the song, I protest she's not listening. I take her hand, I count to 4, I lose it again. She says, "Stop counting," I do, and there we go again. First dance, last promise, still keeping both. First dance, last promise, this ordinary oath to show up. Offbeat, still trying, still holding on to her in the kitchen when the kids are long gone. To bed, our kitchen, our song, our feet, finding their own rhythm, wrong beat and complete. promise, that's the whole of it. First dance, last promise, I have never quit. Year 3, we danced in the hospital corridor. The night before surgery, I found our song on my phone. She saw me coming down the hall with earbuds and a ridiculous face. She laughed until she cried, or maybe cried then laughed, hard to trace where one ended and the other began. But we danced quietly in that fluorescent span of awful overhead lights, slow and off-beaten hours. The night nurse walked by and just let us have our hours. That's the dance I think about the most, not the wedding, the corridor, the one that cost the most to make. The one we're brave and scared, we're the same thing and we were both just there. First dance, last promise, still keeping both. First dance, last promise, this ordinary oath to show up, offbeat, still trying, still holding on to her in the kitchen when the kids are long gone. To bed, our kitchen, our song, our feet, finding their own rhythm, wrong beat incomplete. First dance, last promise, that's the whole of it. First dance, last promise, I have never quit. She still says, stop counting. I still count to 4 and lose it. And every year it means more. Because we both know now what first dance, last promise actually means. It means you keep choosing, even when the beat is hard to find. Especially then, first dance, last promise, still going. First dance, last promise, still knowing you're the one I'd lose the beat with. Every time, every time, every time.
He asked me how to handle being scared. I was scared right then. I told him the truth. He nodded like that was the right answer. I think it was. He watched me lose my temper once at the neighbor's fence. Came and stood beside me after tense. Small hand on my arm, didn't say a word, just waited, and that small gesture cured something in me, because I saw myself reflected in those eyes that watch me unprotected from the truth of who I am, not who I intend. My son's eyes have no diplomatic end. He's 11 now and already making me a more honest person than I'd naturally be. Left alone, his attention is a mirror that I can't walk past without looking clearer. My son's eyes, they don't let me slide. My son's eyes, they see what I try to hide. The shortcuts and the moments I choose less, the times I'm too distracted and I miss his question or his game, or just his need for me to be not performing fatherhood, actually free to be present. My son's eyes know the difference. My son's eyes. He asked me once about the time I was fired. Year he was 6, I thought he was too young. I admired the question more than I feared it, so I told him not the edited version. The reel I showed him, the resignation letter I'd kept. Didn't know why. He read it slow, then said, "Did you cry?" I said yes. He said, "Did you tell Mom?" I said, "She already knew." He said, "Good," and was calm. And then he said, "I still think you're the best dad, not despite the thing after the thing." And I had to excuse myself for a moment. That's what my son's eyes do. They're the most honest payment. My son's eyes, they don't let me slide. My son's eyes, they see what I try to hide. The shortcuts and the moments I choose less. The times I'm too distracted and I miss his question or his game, or just his need for me to be not performing fatherhood, actually free to be present. My son's eyes know the difference. My son's eyes. One day he'll have his own eyes looking up at him, and maybe he'll remember to standing at the rim of being a father, uncertain scene, and choosing to stay honest in between the man he is and the one his kid believes. I hope I taught him that. I hope he sees my son's eyes, my accountability, my son's eyes, my best quality, because of them, because of them. She asked me, "Daddy, why do you always look worried?" I said, "I'm not worried, baby, I'm just thinking." She accepted that. She was 6. At 39, I still accept it too, sometimes. She's 9 now, coming at the world sideways, all opinions and questions and brave in ways I'm still learning how to encourage, without telegraphing every fear I manage daily, because the world she's growing into has edges I can't sand down for her. I know this, but some mornings I drop her at the school gate and sit in the car and have to regulate. Not because she can't, she absolutely will, but because the world hasn't always been kind to girls like her. Still in that knowledge sits still and heavy, and I carry it, so she doesn't have to find it yet. Little girl, big world, I know what's out there. Little girl, big world, I'm doing my best to prepare. Not a fortress, she's not for hiding, she's for living. I'm building her a foundation, not a ceiling. Little girl, big world, and she's ready more than I am. Little girl, big world, let her go, be her anchor and stand back far enough that she can choose her own role. Little girl, big world, I'll carry the rest of the load. She saw me cry once at a film. She watched my face more than the screen, studying, giving the space for me to be something other than invulnerable. And after she held my hand, comfortable, like it was completely normal, completely fine, she said, "Dads can be sad too, it's not a sign of anything bad." 9 years old already knowing what I didn't know at 30. She's growing faster than I want her to, and exactly as she should, and both those things are true simultaneously, and learning to hold that tension guess her dad was her hero. Her teacher told me I didn't tell her I knew. But I went home that night and I sat with it. And I thought, don't be the hero in the story, be the one who taught her she's the hero. That's the job. That's the whole job. Little girl, big world, go meet it. Little girl, big world, I'll be here right behind you. Always.
For a place every evening, that's the whole scoreboard. I set the table before she asked, and that's my thing. Started when the kids were small, it didn't mean anything. Then just habit, now it's the ritual that tells me something about the day, about myself. Whether I rushed it or took the time to fold the napkin right, whether I remember that he doesn't like the blue cup tonight. He wants the green one, small things, that's the job. Nobody sees us, it doesn't photograph, it doesn't post or perform. It's just a half of fatherhood that happens quietly before anyone arrives to notice what it's for. The table I set, 4 plates, that's the why. The table I set, the reason I tie and drive the hour every morning to the place that pays me, so I can come back to this space. 4 plates, this green cup on the right, her folded napkin, the small things done right that say I see you, I know you, I'm still here. The table I set, that's my whole career. We had 2 weeks once where the account was thin, and the conversation at the table came in right around the 4th night. She started it gently, we might need to simplify for a bit. She meant it kindly, I heard it as failure, I know I'm working on that. She put her hand on mine and said the table's still intact, we're still here. That's not simplifying, that's the whole thing. And I looked at the 4 plates and just understood everything. It's never been about the food on the place, it's been about the fact that we still come and wait for each other every evening like a covenant renewed. The table I set is where we are still not subdued. The table I set, 4 plates, that's the why. The table I set, the reason I tie the tie and drive the hour every morning to the place that pays me, so I can come back to this 4 plates, this green cup on the right, her folded napkin, the small things done right to say I see you, I know you, I'm still here. The table I set, that's my whole career. One day it'll be 2 plates again, and we'll probably sit on the same side of the table, facing where they used to sit, and it'll be quiet in a completely different way, and we'll still set the table, because that's who we are. That's what this family did. The table I set, still 4 plates. The table I set, still here. The table I set every evening, every evening.
Three days before payday, account balance $42. She checked, I pretended not to see her check. We both knew, and then she said, who wants to build a fort? Blankets from every bed in the house, chairs from the kitchen and the dining room, roused from their regular positions into architecture. My son was the engineer, my daughter the inspector. She rejected his first design on structural grounds. He revised, she approved. Actual teamwork sounds like two kids arguing for 45 minutes and then building something perfect. My wife caught my eye and then we both started laughing at the same moment. Because this exact moment, this was the component of everything we wanted when we wanted family. Not the thing you planned, the thing you accidentally. Between paychecks, that's where we find it. Between paychecks, somehow we're reminded that the best nights have no ticket price. That $42 and 4 people suffice. Between paychecks, the fourth, the floor, the flashlight. Paycheck, the long and lovely night when nobody checks the balance, because the balance isn't in the bank. Between paychecks. Walked to the park the next afternoon. She held my hand the whole way. I knew, she knew it was a cover for the gas we didn't want to burn, for the restaurant we'd passed but couldn't turn into. And we didn't say that, we just walked and the kids ran ahead. And we talked about nothing important, about a show she's watching, about a memory from year 2, about nothing. And it was the best afternoon I remember. Not of the whole year, of the whole decade, I'd wager. Because presence fills what money can't, always has. Between paychecks, that's where we live, and it's enough. Between paychecks, that's where we find it. Between paychecks, somehow we're reminded that the best nights have no ticket price. That $42 and 4 people suffice. Between paychecks, it's the fourth, the floor, the flashlight. Between paychecks, the long and lovely night when nobody checks the balance, because the balance isn't in the bank. Between paychecks. Son will grow up and remember the blanket fort, not the vacation, which we also had. The fort, because we were all there, fully there, the way you can only be when there's nowhere else to go. Between paychecks, we are rich. Between paychecks, we don't miss anything that matters. Between paychecks, that's when we were us.
I wasn't having a crisis, it wasn't a big moment. I just looked in the bathroom mirror on a Tuesday and thought, is this who she signed up for? I didn't say anything, but she knew. She always knows. I came to bed late, she was still awake reading. I said sorry for the noise, she looked up proceeding what she was about to say with the pause she does when she's choosing words carefully, because she means them. And she said, can I tell you something? And I sat down on my side, I said of course. And something in the way she started measured, deliberate, told me she'd been thinking about this before tonight. She said, I watch you more than you know every day, how you carry it, how you don't let it show when it's heavy, how you come home anyway. You asked me once if I still see you the same way. She said, you're still my hero, not the 25-year-old version, not the man I imagined, the man you became, the certain way you hold this family. That's not what I expected, but it's better, it's real, and I'm more invested now than I was on the day I said I do. Because I know what you do, I see all of what you do. Still her hero, different than I thought I'd be. Still her hero, she still chooses me. She listed I'd forgotten were on the list. The afternoon I drove 2 hours in the mist when her mother was in hospital and couldn't reach her. The year I let my career pause to be the feature parent when hers demanded 60 hours a week. She said, you never made me feel the trade-off, never let it leak into resentment. You just did it quietly without the ledger. That's the hero, she said, that's the real measure. I said, I'm not sure I did all that gracefully. She said, you did it graceful is beside the point, faithfully is the point, and that's what you've been faithful to us. And I ran out of things to say that weren't too much. She said, you're still my hero, not the 25-year-old version, not the man I imagined, the man you became, the certain way you hold this family. That's not what I expected, but it's better, it's real, and I'm more invested now than I was on the day I said I do. Because I know what you do, I see all of what you do. Still her hero, different than I thought I'd be. Still her hero, and she still chooses me. I turned off the light. She went back to her book, normal Tuesday. But I lay there for a long time after, just holding what she said, deciding to believe it, deciding to be worth it again, deliberately, because of her. Still her hero, I'll earn it. Still her hero, I'll return it. Every day, still choosing her. She still chooses me.
Cincinnati to home, 4 hours, 12 minutes. I know every mile of it, mile 280. I start to decompress, mile 3 wanted. I call her, mile 380. I can feel it, mile 387. I'm there.
2 weeks in hotels with one window facing a wall. Recycled conference air and those calls that run 3 hours past when they should end. And the dinner alone where the waiter doesn't pretend to think it's not lonely. He's been watching men like me eat alone since Tuesday again. It's fine, I'm used to it. The work is real, but the work was never the point. Here's the deal, mile 280, my shoulders release. Mile 31 and I call, she picks up on one ring, peace. She says, where are you? I say, closed now, not anymore. She says, we made lasagna. I say, I'll be there by 4. The road back home, that's the only road that matters. The road back home, where everything that's scattered through 2 weeks of absence starts to reconvene. The road back home, the best drive I've ever seen. Even though I've driven it 100 times, even though I know every exit, every sign, it never gets ordinary. The road back home, because what's waiting at the end of it is never ordinary. The road back home. She said the car needs looking at.
I said I'll get it. He scraped his knee on Saturday, already healed. Forget it. She handled everything. She always does, I know. Part of me hates that she doesn't need me, and the other part knows that's not what need looks like in a marriage long. She doesn't need me to function. She needs me to belong to this, and I do completely. The belonging is the thing that the road back home in mile 380 brings. Front door, she opens it before I knock. He's behind her, already in his cleats. Clock ticking on a practice. He needs me to drive. I threw my bags down, said give me 5 alive. The road back home, that's the only road that matters. The road back home, where everything that's scattered through 2 weeks of absence starts to reconvene. The road back home, the best drive I've ever seen. Even though I've driven it 100 times, even though I know every exit, every sign, it never gets ordinary. The road back home, 'cause what's waiting at the end of it is never ordinary. The road back home. A colleague asked me once if I ever thought about relocating. Better market closer to the coast, more opportunity. I thought about it for exactly 4 seconds. Then I thought about mile 387. I said no, I'm good where I am. The road back home, every time the road back home, still mine. Every mile that leads back to them. The road back home. The road back home.
He stood against the door frame. I made the mark. I stepped back. He was taller than me. Neither of us said anything for a second. Then he said cool, like it was nothing. It was not nothing. I started the marks when he was 2.5. Little pencil line, a date, a laugh. Because he stood so straight and so proud of his 42 inches, said them out loud to anyone who asked for the rest of that year. Now he's got his mother's walk and his grandfather's jaw clear across the face, and I am standing here looking up, literally for the first time, and it's clear. This is what I worked for, exactly this. This is the proof that none of it was wasted. His 6 feet and 1 inch of healthy and whole, and becoming the man he's going to be, still becoming. Growing pains in me, not them. Growing pains, learning how to let them move past the stage where I'm the one who holds the answer. Now my son holds some of them, and my daughter knows things that I'm still learning. Growing pains are not just for the ones who grow. Growing pains, they're for the ones who watch and let go. She asked me to stop walking her to class last spring. Said, Dad, the other kids, I understood the whole thing without requiring elaboration. I said, of course, and walked her to the corner, adjusted course, and watched her go. That 30-meter walk alone that she didn't know I watched. A moment of her own, she navigated perfectly. Of course she did. I spent 9 years making sure she could. That's what I did. And
letting go isn't the absence of caring, it's the final form of it, the most daring version of love I prepared you, and now I trust what I built in you. That's the crux. Growing pains in me, not them. Growing pains, learning how to let them move past the stage where I'm the one who holds the answer. Now my son holds some of it, and my daughter knows things that I'm still learning. Growing pains are not just for the ones who grow. Growing pains, they're for the ones who watch and let go. My wife put her arm around me later that night. She said, "You okay?" I said, "Yeah, just proud." She said, "Me too, also a little broken." I said, "Exactly that." We stood there together in the kitchen for a long time, the door frame full of marks behind us, the whole story right there in pencil lines. Growing pains, worth everyone. Growing pains, look what we've done. They grew up, and I grew with them. Growing pains, the best kind of pain.
She called on a Thursday. Said, "Dad, I got the position." I pulled over, sat on the shoulder of the highway. Said, "Tell me everything." And as she talked, I just thought, I think we did it. I think we actually did it. I was 29 when we started this, nervous young. The first ultrasound, I held her hand, bit my tongue on every fear because she needed steady. And I gave it, not because I had it, because she deserved it. So I saved it for the car ride home alone, where I let the fear run. And then I turned it into something I could function on. 24 years from that ultrasound to this roadside, and I am completely undone in the best possible way. You cannot plan for this, for the moment you discover that the thing you built, the family you were building, is actually there, actually whole, actually moving through the world with the values and the spine that you hope somehow you were giving her. Worth every mile, worth every mile, every 5 a.m. departure, worth every mile. The years I could have given more, worth every mile, every argument about money, every worry at 3 in the morning. I tell you honestly, the flat tire, the cut hours, the lean years, the missing of the moment, the dry tears in a parking lot alone, worth every single one. She called me from graduate school, my daughter, worth every mile, my son, worth every mile. She still holds my hand, worth every mile, worth every mile. He brought her home, the girlfriend serious, you could see by the way he introduced her, by the way she watched me. For my reaction, I reached across and shook her hand, said, "We've heard everything, we're glad you're here." And he scanned my face for authenticity. I gave it to him fully, because I'm in it, cause I've raised a man who chooses carefully. And she seemed like someone who deserved to be chosen, and he seemed like someone she had reason to be holding. My wife caught my eye across the dinner table. She raised an eyebrow, I nodded. We were able to have the whole conversation without a word. That's 24 years, that's the language we've built, that's what's heard. And the silence between us. Worth every mile, every 5 a.m. departure. Worth every mile, the years I could have given more. Worth every mile, every argument about money, every worry at 3 in the morning. I tell you honestly, the flat tire, the cut hours, the lean year, the missing of the moment, the dry tears in a parking lot alone. Worth every single one. She called me from graduate school, my daughter. Worth every mile, my son. Worth every mile. She still holds my hand. Worth every mile. I used to wonder if I was doing enough, if the overtime was the right trade, if I was present enough, good enough, man enough for this. I don't wonder anymore. Not because I was perfect, I was not, but because I kept showing up every time for 24 years. And here they are. Here we are. I think that's the end.